morning, y'all. Welcome back to another vlog. Today, we're gonna get into some trouble. Not really. My life is far more boring than that. Not really trouble, but we're gonna get some stuff done. I wanna show you guys because I have basically rearranged my entire house. Most of the downstairs has been completely rearranged, and I want to show it to you, explain why I've done things the way that I have, and hopefully at least some of y'all will agree with me that it was the right decision to rearrange. Ciara and I are both quite happy with the flow, the way things have changed with the flow of the downstairs and everything. As y'all know, we have like this weird L-shaped entry. We'll get into it. It's a whole thing. I also am gonna share with y'all a recipe today. We're gonna make a little Cajun chicken pasta for dinner tonight. So I thought I would share that recipe with you guys. I have a bunch of projects. Well, is anyone surprised? Is that news to anyone? I feel like every video should just be Angie has a bunch of projects going and she's trying to wrap them up. But the truth is that the kids start back to school in a couple weeks. So I'm really trying to spend as much of August as I can wrapping some stuff up to the best of my abilities so that we don't start a new school year with so much chaos, I guess. So we've still got backyard stuff going, but it's raining today. So I thought I would focus more of my energy indoors on the indoors projects. I'm kind of excited. Hopefully we'll see if we can do this without Christopher here. He's taking the boys for haircuts. He kind of does that a couple at a time, so it takes 2 trips. And he's also running to go get hay and take the girls to go get some animal feed stuff. So I will have some of the kids, he will have some of the kids. It will be swapping back and forth. And I might need his help with the other project, which is hanging curtains in the playroom. We'll get into all of that stuff. Let us commence to start. Don't mind the mess of pillows and such, but hopefully you guys can see some of the changes that we made, which I am really, really happy with. So we ended up moving. It's kind of a long story, and I should have made sure those blankets were tucked away. Real life. The cat staring at the goat out the door. Anyways, we ended up moving the armoire here for now. Again, I don't know how much of this is going to be permanent, but it works for now. And I plan to move a lot of the homeschool materials out of here. Sorry, the battery died. Take 2. I plan to move some of all the homeschool stuff that's here into storage, into the kitchen and the other areas. And this will be will take over as coat closet because it is an armoire and there's a hanging portion and places for shoes. As y'all know, our current coat closet, whoop, there we go, is in here, in this little closet right here, but that also happens to be where the air conditioning uptake thing is. So if you block it with coats, it does not function as well, clearly. I don't know whose genius idea that was, but wasn't ours. So I really need to get coats moved out of there. There's Miss Deli Welly. She actually just went to the vet yesterday because she's had these like lumps on her legs and like one on her sort of side back area. And I was very fearful that this was cancer. And the good news is it's not. The vet said that they're just like, I guess like fatty deposits that happen in older dogs. He thinks at some point she might have slipped a disc in her back, that a lot of her like pain and difficulty in her back end is, you can tell some things like trying to heal. So he gave her some, it's not like a true pain medicine, it's like a Chinese medicine kind of version of pain medicine to help with that slipped disc and any pain she might have associated with it. But otherwise, he said she's healthy as a horse. But she's healthy, she's doing great. So that made me feel a lot better. I was kind of, I don't know, I was kind of feeling like we might be nearing the end with her. And who knows, she could just pass away in her sleep at some point. But health-wise, she's good. So just wanted to mention that. Back to the tour. So yeah, so then I ended up moving this thing from over here to here. Now you might be, this is stuff for the girls' room that's getting a makeover at the current moment. So I need to take that stuff upstairs. But, and I still have organizing to do with the shoe bins and stuff like that, but you might be asking yourself, Angie, where in the heck is the piano? Well, that was kind of the catalyst for all of this, was just feeling like we wanted to move the piano away from the front door. The piano guy that came told us that that was not a good place. Well, he said we can keep it there. We ordered a special cover for it, but the problem is that with the humidity and the temperature changing in this room constantly with the door being opened, it's just not good for the overall longevity of the piano. So I also personally just felt like it didn't allow us to utilize this space much. I had a hard time figuring out what else to do in here and needing a spot for coats and stuff. Anyways, let me show you. Okay, so here's a little We have cats sleeping on chairs here. Cats watching dogs and goats outside. And I'm going to be painting. I'm going to be taking down this, what I call the movie theater lights. If you've been around here since we moved in, you've probably already seen these, but I'll show you in case you're new here. Boop. That was me flipping on a light switch, and then we get like movie theater lights. I'm sure for some people that's cool, but I'm not into that. So I'm going to be taking those down, painting, changing out the light fixture, and then I think what I'm going to attempt to do is either doing like the full panels, almost like a shiplap type thing, but more of a natural wood, or faux wood beams that will run across the ceiling. So that's the plan for in here. And then here, not much has changed, obviously, except for the fact that because we moved the piano and everything, we were able to kind of push this sofa a little farther back into this room, opening up this space a little bit. I moved my mirror back over here to this corner. I don't know if this fireplace is gonna stay. This is where we start to get kind of like, I'm not really sure what the future will hold because I have lots of ideas in terms of what I want to do in this space, but right now it's just, it is what it is. So I'm actually thinking of, you know, if we were able to maybe center the sofa, of cutting into the wall and doing arched like bookshelf type things that are cut into the wall on either side of the sofa there. We shall see. I have lots of plans, but I need to kind of just obviously take it one step at a time. So these changes were good, and ta-da! Don't mind all the stuff on top of it. It's some empty boxes and the things that we're going to be using on some of the projects that I'm going to be working on today. Okay, first of all, that bookshelf isn't going to stay there, but I couldn't put it right here for right now because it would cover the vent, so it's just sitting there for now. But what I do like is this little seating area here. You know, if somebody's practicing playing piano, then people can sit here. It at least gives some intentionality to this side of the room that I feel like was not there before. It was just sort of like, what is this? What are we doing with this space? So again, I'm going to be changing out the ceiling fan. The walls are going to be being changed up. And probably what I'm going to end up doing is hanging our guitars on these two walls back here. And I've got some cool prints that I saw online that I might frame and hang here. So this kind of becomes and feels more like just like a little music room area. Those are my thoughts. Again, I don't know where exactly we'll end up with this, but for right now, the flow of all of this, and we find ourselves actually sitting here where before these chairs were here, and nobody ever sat in them. The dogs just jumped in them. It wasn't good. It wasn't functional, I should say. And now I feel like we do actually sit in these chairs. I've got my little Dolly book right here. Yeah, so that's what we've done so far in this area, and I am quite pleased with it and feel like it does flow and make much better sense. Ooh, I didn't mention this, but I also am ordering the like decorator's rods and the high curtains. So I'll be adding curtains here because I really don't want blinds, but I'll be adding some very pleated, you know, sort of thick looking, plush is not the word, but you know what I'm trying to say, curtains here as well. And I think that will also help lift the eye, bring the eye up in here.
All right, y'all, I'm a little sad to have to take down these shelves because you guys know how excited I was about having like kind of that library feel. I wanted the whole top of the room lined with books, and I love that. But sadly, because this room has so many windows, it just gets piping hot in here. And I need to be able to hang curtains, and you just can't hang curtains around the bookshelves. So sometimes we must choose function over form, and that's unfortunately the decision I am having to make today. So I'm going to start by taking all the books down and then start removing the shelves. I did have a little bit of trouble with this, but I was able to finally get it, you know. After a little bit of time, I turn into that guy from, what's that movie, Armageddon, when he's like, this is how we fix things in the Russian space station. And he just starts beating it. That's what I end up doing at some point in this. You'll see me yanking on the shelves. I don't recommend. I get irritated after like 20 minutes. I'm like, can't do it. Just going to rip you out of the dang wall. And I'm going to unbox, of course, all of the drapery rods. Now, somewhere in all of this, I realized that either they haven't sent them all to me yet, or I didn't order enough. I'm not sure who's to blame here. Probably me. For right now, let's pretend like it's the company. Not really. I love these French drapery rods from Ballard. These are what we are using in our bedroom, and basically what I'm going to be using all over the house, because we don't have high ceilings. We don't have a good spot for like big, thick rods. So I'm going to use these thinner ones from Ballard, and I love them.
All right, well, I'm gonna have to wait for Sierra to get home because I cannot drill those curtain things into the wall. Those walls are solid wood basically, because that's the original front porch. Sorry, I'm gonna adjust my hair again. I apologize, it's tickling my neck. Because that's the original front porch of the house. And so the walls are made of actual just like wood paneling basically. It's not like shiplap that you put up on drywall, it's just wood. I tried to pre-drill and I still couldn't do it. So I'm gonna have to wait for my mighty mouse to come home and help me do that. So it started raining, as you can see. We're gonna shift gears a little bit because I'm also working on kids' rooms. I'll probably be able to do like a reveal for the little girl's room, probably in September. It's just every little project is taking me time, but I'm gonna work on one of those projects now, I think, because their nightstand, Jessie, their nightstand came, and I also got some chalk paint that I was gonna paint that, so I may try to work on that. Although, is it a good idea to paint inside? And then also, this order that I placed from Amazon just came. So I got an armoire for in the bathroom. It definitely seemed like a really decent armoire from IKEA for a really affordable price compared to what armoires usually cost. Anyways, and I got some cute like wooden and white hangers, pants hangers and tops hangers, because I hung a second rod. Anyways, I'll show you guys that stuff at some point, but I'm in the thick of it. In the thick of it that's a song from something. What's that from? I can't think of it right now, but in the thick of it.
All right, we're gonna start putting together some furniture. You can see Lottie in there in the background. Aslan being a giant pain in the booty, climbing on my chairs. When people ask, where are the kids when you're doing these projects? Usually they're just out of the shot, but this is what they're typically doing, running around me in circles. Anyways, this is for the little girl's room. I mean, it's basically a clothes hanging rack sort of thing, but it's smaller. And to me, it was just perfect for their dress up clothes. So it's kind of got that like industrial pipes. I mean, these are like steel heavy pipes. And they've just been what I can only assume is spray painted gold. And yeah, I will admit to you, I had a little bit of trouble putting this together simply because, the instructions weren't very clear. And ultimately, I mean, you could look at me. I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to understand what's happening. Ultimately, it ended up looking slightly different than the picture. It's hard to explain. I won't go into too much detail other than to say that I had a little bit of trouble. But overall, I really, really like this once it finally all gets put together. I spent a shameful amount of time taking it apart and putting it back together to try to determine why things were facing in different directions than they were on the picture. But either way, we got it worked out and I love it. I'll link it down below. It's from Amazon and you'll see once it's together that it's kind of like short. It's not, it's not an adult clothes hanging rack. It's definitely meant for children. All right, next piece of furniture I'm going to be building we're going to see how this holds up. I'll link this as well for you guys. This is a toy, well, I guess it's like a toy box. Basically at the foot of all of the kids' beds, I want to put some kind of like storage chest type item so that they just have something where, you guys know Rosie's a little tiny hoarder and she's got her little backpack, but she ends up with these bags that fall apart and she's got all kinds of stuff in them. And everybody has their own special, little items. So I wanted each of them to have some kind of like storage chest at the foot of their bed. So I found this one because let me tell you, some of these things are freaking expensive. And when you have to buy them for potentially like 6 kids, that adds up real fast. So this one I felt like was affordable. It's not that it's not sturdy. It is sturdy. It's just, I don't quite know how to explain it. I'll let you know. I'll keep you posted on how it holds up. But for the price, I feel like as long as your kids can understand not to jump on it, like it's not going to withstand someone jumping on it, if that makes sense. But if your kids listen and you can tell them not to jump on it, it'll be totally fine. Now we're going to move on to building the nightstand. All right, well, I finished building the nightstand, the toy box, and the dress-up rack. And now my back hurts, but it's time to start dinner because that took hours. All right, y'all, let's do some cooking. This recipe, I'm just going to tell you right now, only one of my children does not care for this recipe. It is so, so good. You will not be disappointed. Also, does anybody else feel like maybe Jane Goodall's hiding outside your house watching you through the window like you're a monkey that she gave a stick to for the first time? Whenever I have to use cling wrap, I feel like this is some kind of weird human experiment and I'm the monkey. Anyways, next up, we're going to beat our meat. Just get some chicken breasts. And well, I mean, you can use really chicken thigh. You can use whatever you want. I just had these chicken breasts and you want to beat them into submission. You want to make them flat. My dog is giving me the evil eye the whole time. I'm not sure why. And yeah, you just want to get them nice and thin and to a similar thickness all the way across. And then you're going to sear them on each side. Don't do it the way I did, okay? Put the Cajun seasoning on one side first, drop them into the pan on that side, then season. I flip here. You'll see it's fine. Just, be smarter than me. Anyways, you're basically going to cover them in Cajun seasoning and sear both sides. Then once those sides are both, good and seared, then you're going to cover the pot and just let the meat cook the rest of the way. But you just want to sear each side and then let it cook through the center. Good Lord, words are hard for me today. Okay. While those are searing and cooking and becoming delicious, we're going to cut up some garlic. This is really, truly a very easy recipe. It's not one that you'll need to like write down, and it's not one that that you can really mess up. So long as you use the right ingredients, you can adjust the amounts. I like things spicy, so this is, it's a little bit of a spicy thing, but you can totally tone it down by just using less Cajun seasoning. Anyhow, so we're going to let those chickens simmer. I've got a pot of water ready over here. We're going to drop the linguine noodles. I know people judge me, but I like to put salt and a little bit of olive oil into my pasta water. It makes the pasta not stick and the salt flavors it. Then you are going to dice up some tomatoes. You could use a can of diced tomatoes, but I highly recommend fresh tomatoes. They just taste better in this recipe. I had to cook my chicken in 2 batches, so that's kind of why, I'm just piddling around waiting. But once you get the chicken out, I covered mine with foil so that it stays warm and the moisture stays in while I prepare the sauce. So you're going to use about 2 tablespoons of butter. Again, you can't really mess it up. And put your garlic in there, your diced tomatoes. You're going to let that kind of blend together for just a couple minutes. And now I'm slicing up my chicken, into chicken strips, if you will, thin chicken strips to go into the pasta. You're going to put 1.5 cups of heavy whipping cream. And again, let that mix. A little bit more Cajun seasoning. I don't have an exact measurement for that, y'all. I kind of just eyeballing it. But then you want to add Parmesan cheese. It's shameful, I know. Don't judge me, okay? But I had to use the shaker Parmesan. It's all I had. I ordered shredded Parmesan, and I guess it just didn't come in the grocery order. Should learn my lesson. Just go to the store, Angie. Stop using Instacart. But anyways, so put in your Parmesan. Hopefully you got the real stuff. And then you're just going to add in your noodles, mix it all together. I leave some noodles to the side, for the kid who doesn't want anything but plain butter noodles. And then you just mix in the chicken. Again, I just kind of set mine on top. You can really truly mix it all up. I don't do that, just set mine on top. And this is delicious. It's a crowd pleaser. Our whole family loved it. And then we spent the evening playing a checkers tournament. It was fun. See y'all again soon. Bye.